My faith journey as a Catholic and an African American is by God's grace and mercy through trials and tribulations. We know God is with us and we are still here to do his work. What I've learned from the witness of other Black Catholics and how that has shaped my life is through their faith and perseverance, and particularly a church like St. Augustine's is still here after 100 and almost 63 years. That a lot of people say, why are you Catholic? Well, why aren't we Catholic? We could have been any denomination, but we chose to be Catholic. St. Augustine was never a mission church. We were a church of movement for our own faith, for our own people. So faith and determination is what I've learned from the people in my family, as well as the founding members of St. Augustine, the members that I have learned about, and the members I was blessed to learn and deal with growing up, and the members we have today. My grandmother, Mary Carter, Mrs. Pauline Jones, the Blessed Oblate Sisters of Providence, who taught me from kindergarten through 8th grade, through old parishioner when I was growing up, Carrie Bester, that used to babysit the kids coming from St. Augustine School in her apartment. Just people who just worked hard and they kept the faith. St. Augustine School and Catholic education teaches you faith, it teaches you service, and particularly before the phrase social justice was coined, we were taught social justice. When I got to high school at Academy of Notre Dame, the Sisters of Notre Dame, Dena, we had a semester where we had to go out and do something in the field of social justice. And those principles, faith and service and social justice, volunteerism, it sticks with you throughout life. I kind of grew up in the era where somebody would call up and ask my grandmother, I need the girls, my sister and I, to do something, and you just did it. You didn't have answer any questions, but you knew instinctively that you had to give back. You had to help the seniors in the parish. You had to help when it came time for Christmas or Easter or any time they needed to decorate the church. And then you kind of find your own niche, what you like to do. I've been active in so many things in the church. And one of the things I do now is I have a book club in the school, and I have to give Sister Gabriel Walker OSP credit, because when I went to the 7th grade and 8th grade, she was our 7th grade English teacher. She said, if you want to get an A out of my class, you have to read X amount of books each month. So she opened up the world to literature even more to me, who loved reading. So those are just many things I do around here. Oh, I've been a CCD teacher, I've been on the Black History Committee, I've been on the Parish Council, I'm a member of the Sodality, I'm a past prefect of the Sodality, I'm a current Girl Scout leader, I have the book club with the children. Perseverance, and they knew in building, what does the history mean to me? Perseverance and faith and building for the next generation. Those Black Catholics had been meeting in the basement of what was St. Matthew's Church, 1830s, 1840s. And then we came to the year that we went back to the post in 1984 to celebrate and to put the plaque there. At the time, the Parish Council and other leadership juggled with what is the founding date, because we have been there for decades. And so they chose 1858 because that was the year that the school was founded by parishioners, and the staff. The principal was a member of the girls department, and the principal of the boys department was a parishioner. It's unbelievable at times when I think about it. It's unbelievable. And you see that when you see the historic Black colleges and other schools that have continued, that people had the foresight then to plant those seeds so that we could keep them going today. Not that I can pimp it, but you knew it was there. I grew up in a segregated city. I grew up around the corner. I've lived in the neighborhood all my life. I remember April 4th, 1968. I was at ground zero when the riots broke out, though I was just 5 years old. I could still smell in my head the smell of the burning buildings. In fact, I have a grenade that I found in our backyard that I keep from those days. We knew it was a challenge. In those days, the Catholic schools are not open like they are now. The high schools are not open like they are now. But we knew we were prepared and we were best or better than the kids that we later met on through life. My reaction and feelings about the unrest that we've had this summer due to the unarmed killings of Black men in particular was that it was a time to come that was coming, because we've never addressed it. We keep putting the Band-Aid on it, or we're sweeping it under the rug, or we're saying this is not us, but truthfully it is us until we accept it and move beyond it. I've been down to Black Lives Matter Plaza. I have, since I live right here in the neighborhood, weekly there are protests going down the street, and I'm renewed because when you go down there, it is everybody coming together to see how can we deal with this and move on. And I'm really inspired by so many young people who've taken an active role in protesting, getting out to vote in this last election, and trying to heal and move the country and the world forward. People of color are being hard hit by the coronavirus, and we're not looking after the least of these. I take a daily walk around the neighborhood because I'm working from home, and I've seen businesses close up. I've seen businesses are struggling to stay on. I've known people who have lost their jobs throughout this pandemic, particularly the workers who are in the service industry, and those are the least paid. Then we're seeing the rollout of the vaccine, and we just pray and hope that we can get everybody vaccinated. We can get past this current crisis so we can get the country back together again and get people working, get people feeling safe and secure again. To admit, like very slowly, some of them are like the whole Georgetown, the GU 272 project, to admit that their role in it, and so we can dialogue, and so we can begin to move on and to begin to build people so we can continue the good work that we've been called to do. I think faith that I learned from my mother and my grandmother, faith I've learned through growing up. And I just was thinking recently about something Sister Gabriel Walker, OSP, told us, that, I don't know, something happened in the classroom. She said, don't confuse God's actions and man's actions. So you have to separate the two. And she reminded us that Jesus, the church was built on St. Peter, whom we know St. Peter denied Christ. So you have to keep focused on the Lord and what you are called to do. And don't let other people's actions dissuade you from living out your faith, increasing your faith, and treating each other as you'd like yourself to be treated. What took so long? Because we've had, in the American church, we've had African American bishops, I think going back to the 50s with the late Bishop Harry. But I remember the late Pauline Jones had a tradition of having each Trinity Sunday, which we designate as the founding of our parish, come. And when Bishop Gregory came many years ago in the 90s, it seems like a long time ago, he told St. Augustine to keep the bread fresh. And to keep the bread fresh, meaning we've done so much with music and social justice and education to keep the bread fresh. So we're happy that he's here with us to keep the bread fresh at St. Augustine and throughout the Archdiocese of Washington.